Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're doing a episode of What's New. I haven't done one for a while, and I do apologize. I'm getting further behind. I always bite off more than I can chew. I'm not sure why I do that, but I do. Anyways, this is the band that was on my list. I made an original list that was supposed to go till about February 17th, and then I was going to add more as I went along, but I'm so far behind now I don't know where I'm going to catch up. Anyways, I quite like this band. They're new to me. They've been around since the 90s. I think they have about a dozen or so albums, maybe more. I didn't make a note of that. They're an American band, and they're called the Jonestown Massacre. The album we're doing tonight is called The Future Is Your Past. This is their most recent album. So some of my information isn't 100% up to date because it's hard to find any information on the album, even from the band's site. This was released on February the 10th, 2023. I think it originally was supposed to be released last year at the end of the year. They were supposed to release two, and then they released this one on February 10th, 2023. It's about 34 minutes in length, which is perfect for this kind of music for me. I don't want to listen to drawn out albums of this type of music. I do like it on occasion, and in this particular case I like it a bit more than most. It's on the A record label. Didn't give the studio or the producer of the album, so I didn't make a note of it. I looked for it but couldn't find anything. So the band, as members go, I'm going with their last tour because it doesn't give a list of who played on this album. However, I'm going with the previous tour that was released, so these are the members that were on that tour. Anton Newcomb, who is kind of the leader, defuncto of the band, he's vocal guitar. Ricky Marmee, he also plays guitar. Hakon Steinson, he also plays guitar on the album. Colin Hagner is bass. Ryan Van Crete, it's either Van Crete or Van Crete, one or the other, I'm not sure. He's a keyboard guitar player here. Yuri Renart is the drummer, and Joel Guion is on tambourine. So yeah, it's a 7-piece band. What can I say about this album? I listened to it in its entirety, of course, as I always do. Very kind of there's a lot of psychedelic to their music, and that's perhaps what appeals to me most about their music. It's slow, it's methodic for the most part. Lots of acoustic guitar parts on here. Lots of synthesizer bits, almost electronic sounding music at some points. There are some raw sounds to the album too. It's not just all computerized symphonic music. It's got a lot of raw elements to the music. There's almost a punk element to the music, although it doesn't come across. It's not very punky, but there's a kind of an element, and maybe in the lyrics, or maybe it's his vocals, I'm not sure, one or the other. What else can I say about it in general? I think it's like very slow paced, melodic. It's a nice type of album if you just want to turn the lights out and lie in your bed and listen to something that's not too challenging to your brain, but can just infiltrate your psyche and be part of you for a bit. Yeah, it's a good album for that, I think. The only kind of downfall for the album for me is that sometimes the psychedelic or electronic part of the album kind of distorts a lot and makes the album sound almost kind of bad production, but I don't think it's the case. I think it's just that sound part. It has 10 tracks on the album, which is not too bad. Most of them are fairly short. I did like the back half of this album better than the front half. Although I did like the front half. I would say the front half was good and the back half was better. If that's That's not much of an analogy, but that's the way I'm seeing it. So, yeah, lots of kind of melodic sounds to the whole thing. The guitar is good, and they do play primarily acoustic guitar as the dominant instrument here for the band, although some of the solos, I believe, are on electric guitar. So I'm not sure who's playing what. I know there's 3 guitar players here. Ale and Steinson, Marmee, and Newcomb all play guitars. I'm not sure who, and there's actually the keyboardist also plays some guitar here, so I'm not quite sure who's playing what, but there's some acoustic. There's usually a couple of acoustics going at any given time, and then you got the lead part on electric being played, who knows by who. So yeah, so I'll just do a little bit of a song breakdown here. The rainbows. Do rainbows have ends? This is the opening track. I like the guitar part. I like the vocal part. That's the other thing. The vocals are very almost subdued in most cases. There's a little bit of that talk type vocal where he's kind of singing and talking at the same time. That's a fairly common trend on this album. It's not overdone though. I don't think you're going to get like a lot of that, but you do get some of it. Yeah, I like the melodic kind of sound. I like the distorted parts in their albums. They tend to like to end their song with this kind of distortion all the time. It's I'd say there's about a half a dozen of the 10 songs on here that have that kind of an ending. Nothing Can Stop the Sound, the second song, kind of a catchy beat. Yeah, a pretty catchy beat. Lots of, this is where the psychedelic part really starts to hit in. Lots of psychedelic keyboard parts here. Vocals are a little on the new wave-ish, and that may be because of the keyboards interacting with them. And then, of course, it ends with that distortion that they like to do. I'm not sure if it's a guitar distortion. I'm thinking it's a keyboard distortion. It sounds more keyboardish to me. The next song up, The Light Is About to Change. The acoustic guitar part on this song is good because it's a little more beefy. So it's not that kind of picking sound that you get from the acoustic guitar where somebody's slowly, melodically picking away through parts of the song. This is more of a beefy kind of strumming part to the song. I like that part. This is one of the better parts on the album for that. The vocals have a little bit of that distortion to them. It's more of a raw sound, this particular track. Not as much synthesizer on it. The solo is a little bit bluesy, but it's got that raw kind of sound to it. So the first 3 tracks I liked. They weren't too bad. The next song is probably my favorite if you were going to have a side 1, this would probably be my favorite on it. A little bit more subdued. The acoustic bit is more subdued. Then the drums and the keys give this kind of a more of an atmosphere of create that atmosphere of being a subdued song. But I like this song quite a bit as well. And then you get on to the last kind of track that I would say would be like your side 1 if you were doing sides, but this is of course a CD, so maybe they do have a vinyl album, I'm not sure. Vocals are distorted here. Does a little bit of that talking while he's singing. Some keyboards are distorted as well. I would say the drums are pretty rhythmic, though. They keep in a pretty rhythmic beat here, which is kind of a little bit catchy. Maybe they're not such a bad song. So then you get the back half of this album, which I like more than the front half. So you've got the next song up is As the Car Is Used. I think that's what it's called. Oh, sorry. I gotta learn to write better. And that's what it looks like it says to me, but it isn't. It's the carousel. As the Carousel, okay. Some nice synthesizer openings here, some really kind of psychedelic atmosphere for this song. Nice acoustic guitar bit. The vocals again are subdued. And I think this is the song with the I think there's like a couple of vocals going on here at the same time. I think this is the one. Anyways, this song I liked quite a bit. The next song, The Mother of All, you know what they're going to say. This one is again a psychedelic synthesizer psychedelic sound to this one, I think. A bit heavy on the tone, I think. And then you got some vocals that are kind of clearer on this song. I think it's because you're not getting as much distortion, so you're hearing his vocals a little clearer on this tune. Another good tune. The next song, All the Feds. Oh, sorry. Again, I got to learn how to write properly. All the Feels. This is probably my favorite track on the album. When I'm thinking about it, it's got that kind of, again, that kind of psychedelic synthesizer sound to it. It's very melodic. The vocals are, wrong one. Vocals are more hollow. I don't know if that makes any sense. It sounds like they're echoing almost. Well, there's no echo, but it sounds like they're in a room that's a bit too big for them when they're talking, and there's almost an echo to their voice here. And the guitar bit on this is really good, I think. Your Mind is Your Cafe is My Cafe. Nice title. This one has some piano on it, which is, I think, the only song on the album with that. I didn't hear any other piano on it. It's kind of in the deep end of the piano, though, in the lower octaves of the piano, which is kind of nice. It gives it a kind of darkness to it almost. The vocals are strong and forward on this particular track. The acoustic guitar part is clear, and the synthesizers are fairly fast, I think. I don't know if fast is a word, or more a little bit more dominating, I guess. Maybe that might be the word. And then you come to the very last track, Stuck to Yours. This is a kind of has a bit of a strong guitar solo on it. That part I like a lot. Yeah, it's a bit more of a heavier track, I think, than some of the others. Not so as much subdued. It's kind of but I liked that it was catchy as well. And this is like I said, this is a kind of a quiet listening album, an album that you would like to. It's not something I wouldn't play this while I was cleaning or doing something at the table or doing something that was distracting, because you're not really going to hear it. And I think this is the kind of an album you need to put on. Either you can put this on with your headphones, but I don't think of this as a headphones album. I would I like to turn the lights off before I go to bed and put an album on, and I try to choose something that's going to create that kind of atmosphere where it's almost psychedelic, Anyways, overall, I like the album. It's an album I would purchase, but I have a price limit to this, and that's how I generally decide on how I'm going to purchase an album. I have an idea of what an album is worth. I usually have my dollar ones, or just whatever I see as, it doesn't really matter what it is. I'll see something that I don't know anything about. If I say it's worth $1, I'll listen to it for $1. $2 ones, they got to be a little bit better than that. The $5, I call them around $5 albums. These are albums that most of the time I've owned in the past, or I've had some listening to, so I know a little bit about, and I think they're probably worth it. $10 ones, those are ones that I really want this album, and I'm getting it for a good price. Then you got your albums that are over that I think have to be like a one or a grand or a masterpiece. They have to be potential to get to either of those. So I don't know that this has a potential for either of that. So I'd say this is like a $5 album maybe. So am I going to buy it right away? No, because it's going to be overpriced, in my opinion. So I just wait. I'll wait a bit, and then when I see it go on sale, I might grab it depending on the price. $5, $6, $7. I think that's probably where this one would range in. But if you like that kind of psychedelic, slow-paced, melodic, kind of not that clear voice, but raw parts to it as well. This has some of that kind of stuff to it. Not a really fast-paced album, not a rocking album. You'll like this stuff. I like it. I think it's a pretty solid album. Definitely something I'd add to my list, which makes me want to now go and listen to some of their other stuff, because they've got a lot of albums, these guys. So I'm wondering if their music is the same. It's kind of an interesting logo with the band too. Sorry, they have this kind of a logo, and it's a picture of Brian Jones in the center of it. So yeah, different, but it's alternative rock, so that's what you're gonna get, right? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was fun to listen to this album. Go online, punch in the Brian Jones Massacre. The future is your past. You'll probably get choices of whether you want to listen to it in the vinyl form or the CD form, or you can listen to it on YouTube and they'll give you a track listing. Well worth time. If you find this kind of music interesting, I think you'll like this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we'll be back with something new very soon. I'm trying to catch up on these. I'm hoping to get as many of them done before the end of April as I can, because I know that the Jethro Tull album is due to be coming out not too long from now, and that's definitely one I gotta have. So take care and have a good night. Bye.